Good evening. We have another live stream. Everybody, welcome, and we are back again. Just playing around with one of these sequences, and the fun thing what you can do with Brute 3 is, of course, if you have a patch, you can put things off. And for instance, this is a happened again sequence from the introduction bank. You also can find it in the sequencer bank, and you see in the background plays a little bit the bass. This one, which is also Blue 3. I took Blue 3. This is it's this bass here. Let's play it solo. Typical FM synthesis sound. Has a very nice attack. So let me play it solo. And of course you need to hear my voice. So now it plays solo. Let's play it a little louder. Here it is. And you see here in the algorithm you can see that oscillator 3, 4, 5 and 6 is used. And it starts with a sinus waveform, which has an output. So that one goes to the filter 1. So also filter 1 is used. So it's FM together with subtractive, essentially. Oscillator 5 is modulating 6, and you hear a little bit of harmonics adding to it. So on, off, sinus. Now a little bit modulated. And of course you need to be careful with the volume with FM synthesis. So this one, number 5, modulates 6 with... And if I open a bit more the modulation of the volume, you hear that it changes the sound. So that's one part of it. And if I go another one, that's oscillator 4, which again has a different pitch, which also modulates oscillator 5. So adds another, let's say, kind of attack thing to it. And then the last one is number 3, which is then really adding this overtone. And of course, they only do this at a given time. So each of them uses an own envelope. So if I click here in oscillator 3, the envelope icon, I go down here and you see oscillator 3. So here you can change it. You hear that? Same for oscillator 4. And then it starts to get ugly. So that's a big difference. So essentially, if the envelopes are not right, the sound is totally gone. So if I click original again, so this overtone, there's a little bit of distortion. It's only at the very start of the sound. So it's very percussive. So this one is used. And then I had this sequence sound with Blue 3. So let's go out of solo. Play this one, and we have some little drums. Play the sequence sound. Okay, let me close this blue one. You see here the LED lights up, so this sequence is active. So this sound has a lot of things going on. So wave sequencing. So if I put down the oscillator 1, then it's already minimal, and that sometimes in your track is even better because there was already a bass sequence playing, so maybe this one is a little bit better fitting in your music. Opening modulation wheel, let's see what happens. Not much. So I simply shut down oscillator 1 from this preset. Okay, of course, maybe you like it better with oscillator 1, but that's what you can do with Blue 3. Not going too deep, but simply putting off an oscillator and wait what happens. Sometimes you run into some great sounds. So another idea is, of course, is the rhythm feel, which I very often tell people, is that you have to go to the amp envelope and change there the envelope settings to make the groove more fitting in your music. Now this one was not bad at all, so let me shut down the oscillator 1 again. So I have this bass playing, a little bit of drums, and then this wave sequence, and I'm gonna fiddle around with the length of the sequence sound. Sorry. Now it's very short. It's also an option, or longer. Very short. These are little things you can do. That's also the reason why the amp envelope is Blue 3 always visible, except for some pages like the Bank Manager, of course. Then, but in the FX page, in the sequencer page, it's visible. It's not in the even in the easy page, XY page, R page, only not in the sample page, where you work with samples. So, but in all the other pages, so even if you are here working in the sequence to do things, you still can edit the sound. So let's take another wave sequence. Oh, this is from, I need to go to the Bank Manager, sequence sound. Let me see what we take here. This one is half speed. So let's see what is happening here. 3 oscillators. So let's shut down. So that one, only oscillator 3 has wave sequencing going on. So if I look to the oscillator 3 and go to the sequencer, you have 2 views, the normal view where you set the tuning of the sequencer, velocity, the free rows, ratcheting, and the other page, the wave page, there you can select a different wave per step. And oscillator 3 you can see has different wave settings. The other ones are all carrying the label set, which means that it uses the waveform which is selected in the oscillator. So this is oscillator 3 doing the wave sequence thing. And the other one to give the melody sound. So cool, isn't it? Okay, let me check the chat room because I'm speaking already for almost 10 minutes. I have moderate helps everybody feel safe, it mentions here. Okay, so everybody, let's see. Okay, I also see Synth Tutorial DE in our chat room. You guys really should check out his channel, Synth Tutorial DE, and he has some very nice videos on YouTube. Synth Tutorial DE. I think if you type that, you will find him in YouTube. So I'm checking in the question in the chat room. If you're building custom samples in a patch, it will not be stored in the patch itself. In case you do this and you create patches with samples, the people need to install the bank folder where the presets are. So let me go and let me show you to you. Let me see if I go to the I need to open it. I'll let you show. Yeah, we work on the fact that you can export the preset included the samples as a kind of package, but that's not yet in the preset manager. So here in the preset manager, you would have done import preset included samples. Then the program would put the samples in the right folder, and if you save a preset with your used samples, it would also export it. But that's something we have as a future feature. So if I go here, let me see. Here we have the documents, the documents or application folder, documents for Papen, Blue 3, that's the folder. You find it in documents for Papen Blue 3. Then you have the samples folder. So if you create presets for other, and you want to share them, included the samples you used, you need to make available this bank folder you created. So you create your own bank with your own name. And also you need to zip for them the samples, which are in the sample folder. So now here you see it's empty and it's only having the IM-Blue3, the sample from Richard, because this is going to be in the next version of Blue 3. We have this preset of tonal axis inside of it, and he had this IM-Blue 3, this sample. So if you make sound sets which includes your own samples, you need to deliver to the customer the samples folder. And he needs to manually put the samples down in the samples folder. And the best way to do is, if you don't want to mess other people, simply you say new folder inside the sample folder, and you say your sound bank. If you have a sound bank, a sound bank, I call it sound bank, just a name, sound bank Hein, for instance, sound bank Hein. Then you put in your samples you are going to use, you put in this folder, and then you're going to create the preset. And then once you have everything ready, you make this a zip file, and you say, okay, drop this folder inside the sample folder, and everything will be working. Okay, so back here. So this is how it works. But as mentioned, in the future, we will have the feature so that we have an export function, and that makes it, of course, a lot easier. Hopefully this answers a little bit your question. So let's go to this preset, which has one sample in the sample folder, which was from tonal axis. We will have this one in the next version of Blue 3. So it's called IM-Blue 3. And here you see sample 1 is selected here in oscillator 5. So eerie sound, isn't it? So of course we have a lot of samples on board inside of Blue 3. And I still need to make this video how to use these samples, what you can do, because there are two ways. You can say, okay, I'm in a preset, I simply want to use a sample. Then in your list, you can select a sample. Let's say that you use sample 2. I go to the sample page, and then you simply say, here we have, you see here's a sample, and you simply do let's go on up here, drag and drop, and you drag and drop the samples, and then you can use it. So this gong now can be used, which is, I did override this one. So sample 1. So I should have sample 2. So sample 1 is this blue, sample 2, I need to pick this one. So this is the selector. So this is the sample page. You have two pages, sample edit and layer edit. Layer edit I will explain a little bit later on, but sample edit means you can load up to 6 samples, and you can pick them here, select them. Sample 1 has this one, IM-Blue 2. Sample 2, let me see. why doesn't, oh, I need to, yeah, then I need to go one up. Then I can take the gong. So the gong, I just dropped the gong. That one I can use in sample 2. Sample 3, yeah, I don't have 3 samples now in the sample folder, but then you could continue. And then you can use in the oscillator, you can simply select the sample here. So in oscillator 6, if I shut down the other ones here in oscillator 6, I can use then sample 2. Okay, sample 2. I don't hear anything. Why I don't hear anything? Most likely because it's in the routing range. Let's see why it's the output. I don't hear it. Should be a reason for it, but I don't hear it. Sample 2. Mode. No, that's not the one. Oh, it was in ring modulation mode, and then it has no other signal here, logic. So yeah, and it has an envelope going on, this XY, but this is the gong essentially. So what you can do if you have, let's say, if you say, okay, I have a nice preset here inside, let's say you go to pads, I simply take one preset here and you say, oh, I want to add some samples here. Then you see 5 is free. You pick down a sample, and they are the ones which are available. So the ones in the sample folder are the ones are available. And now sample 2, I know. Here we go here. I'll load sample 2, the gong. Okay. Here it is. That's one way of working. Simply by going into a preset, you have samples already in the sample folder. You drag, drop them inside of here, and then in this preset you select, because each preset can have 6 samples, you select which one you are going to use. You see sample 1, you can audition. Is blue 1 is selected, 2 is then now the gong. Well, there's another way what you can do with these samples is, of course, the layer edit, where you can say, I combine these 6 samples together for one with split points and whatever. And that is the layer mode. And the layer mode is what you need to select then also. Once you have connected 6 samples together as one collection with split points or velocity splits, then you select here layer sample set. And that is essentially, then you combine all these 6 samples together in one layer spread out. Okay. Looking here in the chat room, if I maybe missed something, just ask if you have a question. Yeah, last week I was not in the shape to do a live stream. My furry friend Bentley passed away. We have two old English bulldogs in our family. They are both from Mike, but they're very often in the studio. I walk a lot with them, and he sadly passed away. And yeah, that was very sad, and still sometimes very sad, missing this furry friend, human's best friends. They are these dogs, and he was very funny, and he did chew on my cable sometimes. So the Logitech webcam I had to solder again because Bentley did chew on the cable. Yeah, it's they go far too early, these dogs, and they are. He will be missed, and yeah, his nephew's still here. His name is Gizmo, and Gizmo is 8 years old, and of course he misses also his pal. But he was today in my studio, and I did a nice walk with Gizmo. And yeah, I really love dogs and also cats, because we also have a cat here. Okay, so that about yeah, how life goes sometimes, and then you are too sad to do do regular things. Okay, so this about these samples. I really should make this video, but it always takes time, and we were very busy with the release of Blue 3. We have, of course, a lot of emails and things. Rob, are the samples limited in length? That's a good one. That's a good one. I don't think so, but I'm not sure if it makes sense if you have a 1 minute sample inside of it. So that's the samples which are on board, of course, are pretty much different, truncated and focused. But I think it doesn't make sense to make it too big. But currently, I think there is no limitation. So going back to the sample page, if you're using, we did two things. Essentially, one thing. We did now simply select one preset and we drop the sample we like and use that in a current preset. But maybe you want to really make a good setup of these 6 samples, which I essentially did. So there is another way. So the samples, what I said, one sample added you can do here. You see this gong. You see it also has a loop point. You can also press here, sample preview. It's a bit soft in sound, but then you can play it. So now I don't play the preset, but I only play the sample. But it's a little bit soft in volume. Maybe we should make it a little bit louder in the playback. But then you can change here the start point, so you can give it a different loop point, sample start point. You can move. You could do all kind of things in this sample edit page. The layer edit, then of course, if you start working with that one, I can advise you to use this preset, which is in the introduction bank. So if we go to the introduction bank, you have default sample preset. What is happening in this preset is that essentially you see oscillator 1 is already set to the sample set combination. Only oscillator 1 is active. There's no filters, no FX. It's a very dry sound. If you then start working with samples, you can say, okay, sample 1, you pick here, there's nothing loaded. So I go to the sample edit page, go to sample 1. I can say, okay, use this one. I am Blue 3. Now you can do sample 2. You can pick then, for instance, this gong. Okay, and you don't hear it because now the playback oscillator is oscillator 1. So it only uses oscillator 1, which has this layer set. So this layer set I need to edit now in the sample page. So I go to the edit layer edit page. There you see sample 1 is sample 1, sample 2 is sample 2. And now they are combined. You hear the voice and the symbol. So I can do a velocity split, a key split, and you have 2 modes, node mode or cross mode. Now, velocity split. This is the cross mode. Okay, why is it not going back? Not sure. And then you can make some crossings or split points. Now I'm crossing it. So these things are you doing in the layer editing mode. You have key split and velocity split. With key split, you have the cross mode or the node mode. Now, cross mode doesn't go off. I don't know why. Velocity split is, of course, always also cross mode and node mode. But these are essentially But I need to make a video, and then I can explain it step by step. So if you have the layer added, then you can change the volume, also detune again. Make it stereo. And then you have 6 samples spread out over your keyboard. But this is more advanced. But if you do this, then you really should start with using the default sample preset. Because once you have your setup, you can save it. You can save a setup. Save setup, and then load it again. So then you can save a complete layer added set. And then if you then go to a preset, then you can load in this complete layer added set, which the 6 samples combine together. And then you can see now it says non-loaded. So the load set means that you can load a set. Now it shows now an empty set. Now, yeah. Okay. Now you see, but most likely this will not work because I have this layers saved here. So these are the layers which I used essentially here, but if I click them and load them, it will not load because the samples are not anymore in the sample folder, but in the internal section. So so that's what you can do with the layer added, using 6 samples combined together. Once you have a nice set, do save it. Then you can load this set in any other preset, in any other oscillator. So then you could say, okay, I take one preset here, which is then, for instance, this one, and I load here and this one, the sample set. You click here, sample set, you go to the sample page, layer added, and you load this set, and you have this set of 6 samples inside this other preset. Hopefully you can follow me a little bit. Yeah, you can use phase modulation and frequency modulation also with the samples, sure. Even the feedback back can be used. So I did this, and then you got a funny sound. It's not always a good result. So let me see if I have a pan flute somewhere. Where is a pan flute? Introduction bank. Let me see where it is. Letter. And you see here's an arrow. So because there's more than 128 presets. Yeah, let's take this one. I don't find it. It's choir sound. Yeah, this choir sound. I can do feedback. Listen. Yeah, and of course you can modulate by another oscillator. So let me go more to a default preset. That's maybe wiser to show you. So here you can go back. Default preset. Oh, I have order by date. That's why I don't see it on alphabetical order. Default preset. Sinus waveform. Okay, let's take an algorithm so I can do it this way. Let me see what we can do. No, let's take oscillator 6. I take a sample. What shall we do? Something choir sound. This one maybe. Now I can use oscillator 5 to modulate it. Phase modulation. PM is phase modulation. Yeah. Phase modulation, ring modulation. And maybe I can go even down more. It starts like... Nice, isn't that? It's really can do some weird sounds. I did not experiment with that. And then we also have this is essentially FM you need to pick down here in the algorithm. It's gonna be dirty. Yeah, indeed, you can do some and even sync. That's a different one. Oscillator wave and a sample sync with oscillator. In this one, it sync to 1. Well, let's see what happens if we put a pitch envelope to this oscillator 6. So go to the mod section. I select. Let's simply take its own envelope to make it easy. On the pitch, oscillator 6 pitch, semi algorithm. I go to the envelope. So this is a sample which is originally like this. And now we sync. Oh, it can be dirty. So yeah, some interesting stuff possible by using these samples. So this is the single two, and then used with the phase distortion, ring modulation. Yeah, can generate some interesting stuff. So ring modulation. And then, of course, frequent. Now it does FM. Yeah. So nasty stuff possible. Okay, let's check again the chat room. Oh yeah, about Studio Cats. Yeah, we have. We had a cat called, which I have a picture with behind it, Blade 2 on my Facebook page. You see older cat. And when she passed away, it took 2 years before we took another one because we were so sad about it. But then it was a little bit too empty in our house. So we had a Black Panther again. And she's not that often in the studio, but it's a very sweet cat. Yeah. Yeah, Matrix is inside the chat room. Today I had the plant because Matrix made some very nice Predator 3 sounds I wanted to show you today, but I could not open the zip file, of which was a raw file. Cannot pronounce that. RAR file, which has a kind of crop thing. And he did send me a new one, but I think I did not see that mail on time. So, but we will do this next week. So some Predator 3 presets from Matrix, which are very nice. That's a good point, Hannes Hagebuch. You need to check down the algorithm. What is the algorithm? Now you see this one uses the matrix for the algorithm, but you also can use the FM presets for doing things. Oh, freeze. Yeah, I was heading the wrong one. So let me try again. I need frequency modulation. This is frequency. So frequency modulation and phase modulation are very close to each other. In the matrix, yes. So let's go back to so that's possible to do some frequency modulation, phase modulation, even wave shaping is possible on these samples, I think. So let's first take. So I could use shape here, phase distortion. Let's see what happens. When I open the shape, you see nothing changes, but that's because the shape hasn't been altered. Of course, I need to select oscillator 2. Makes the sample go random. I can do wave shaping. That's more noisy. It only doesn't show it here in the waveform. That's because it's a sample that is not available. So if I would take a regular waveform like a sinus, then you would see it right away. So that's also possible. So let's go back maybe to the default preset, because now then you hear the clean sound without any. So oscillator 1, you have here the shape, phase distortion or wave shaping. Wave shaping, I pick it here, open the wave shape here, and then you go to oscillator 1. And I can change here the or phase distortion. I think these are shape presets. So from a sinus, you make a totally different waveform. You see it here. So these are the presets you can use. Or you do this on a digital spectrum waveform. So the possibilities inside the synth, and much credit goes to John Iris, who does program this amazing stuff. So this is on a classic, on the regular waveform. I don't think that it will work on noise. Didn't try that, by the way. What would happen if I use this on noise? I don't think that it will have any effects, any results. So where is the noise? Here it is, white noise. No, it doesn't do anything. Makes it only louder. phase. No. But on samples, you can use it. So if I use it on the strings, makes a dirty wave shaping, phase distortion. Phase distortion is not doing that much. Oh. So yeah, in terms of synthesis, much to discover. It's one of the presets, which of course was a funny one, which pull my finger from Jamal. Pull my finger. Here it is. And that was done. Essentially, the feedback using the modulation matrix offset oscillator on feedback. So putting it down here. Here you have the bottle. And now it's feedback. So that's even possible to have fart sounds with Blue 3. Pull my finger. Feedback on a sample, then you get this weird result. But of course, that's a little joke. Okay, let's see the chat room. If there's any still questions, we received a very cool demo by two people, Sanjini, and unlucky Sanjini is not here in the chat room. I don't see Sanjini in the chat room. He played a demo with only Blue 3, and we have, of course, Tom Aldrich with a demo song. So I really like to play them. So, but first, let me check again if there's still a question in the chat room. Okay. Yes, and that it doesn't go to the wave screen. So if that's a new feature, because if you go to the next preset, it shows always this wave screen, so that it looks very comfortable for your eyes. But maybe if you're editing, you think, oh, now it jumps each time back to the waves display, then you simply can shut it off here in the graphics. It's the same. Then you can put it off, and then it stays, for instance, in the algo page if you go to the next preset. Then we have the FX page will have a bit better look. So we divided here. This is the modulation, 2 modulation slots per FX. And we made a divider line. So that's a little bit more clearer in terms of layout. That's also a little change. And of course, we added this bang by tonal axis, which you find down here. There it is. And 16 tonal axis 01 with some very nice presets. I think one had some favorite. Not sure which one was my favorite. It's a nice one, isn't it? Phobos pad. So, and then some little bug fixes inside Blue 3. Changing from presets is a bit more flowing. Sometimes people see the maximum CPU jump if they go to the next preset, but this is a lot less now. So all these kind of things are added now. Thomas Santos, do you code your VST by yourself? No, I'm zero coder. I'm the guy who thinks about the concept. Together with John Iris, we create the concept. Do a lot of preset work, so I'm more the developer side. You know, what should be the features inside of it. Then I approach the synthesizer from a sound designer, a synth geek perspective, and the coding is done by John Iris. He is the DSP coder. And as you can see, he does a brilliant job. Of course, I know a little bit more how the coding works and how things have influence on sound and that kind of stuff. And these are things we always discuss together. And mostly what happens is either one of us has an idea, and then we work it out together. But I'm more looking in it from the musician perspective and the synthesizer geek perspective. So it's teamwork after all. And then of course we have Sajek, who does all our Mac programmer. And since Mac changed a lot recent years, he is very busy. How do I get back to 100% screen if button is not visible? Oh yeah, it's the what you need to do is you have a few options. If you don't see this one for selecting the size screen, then you can go to the preset menu, and in the preset menu you also can go down to select the screen. So you have essentially three spots. In the preset menu, you can select the screen size, you can select it in the control menu, and you can select it on the back panel, which is down here. If you click on the logo there, you also can change the size. And then you need to reload your song, and then the size is okay again. Because if you reload the instance, you might lose the preset you were using. So if you change the user interface size, reload your song, and then the new size will be effective. Okay. Yeah, well, it's this Thomas Santos about coding it's you need to really love this job, and John Iris really loves to do it. I would not be a good one in coding. I would lose too fast track on things. I like to play around, create music, making sounds. That's all my thing. And but that's the nice teamwork with John Iris, is that sometimes I have an idea. For instance, the XY for controlling Blade, its harmonics was initial an idea that popped up in my mind, but then he added some additional features to it, like that it draws a preset movement and that kind of stuff. It's to my opinion the best coder on this planet for music software. Okay, so let's go to the demo songs. So first I like to play the one from Sanjini. 1 Minute Blue, it's called. So let's listen to, and then we go to the Tom Aldrich demo. Yeah, very ambient type of song. 1 Minute Blue 3 done by Sangini. Very smooth, very relaxing music. There was a question about the mouse control. Yes, that is possible. Sometimes on my system it doesn't work. It depends really much also on your host. So if essentially, yeah, see, and now I turn my dial, so it works, and I'm so stupid that I don't use it. I'm moving around my mouse instead of using this one. So this is I'm changing now the attack by using the mouse wheel. So yeah, it's supported. At least it works now in this Cubase. It works, but it depends on your music host. So I'm not sure if it works everywhere. For instance, in the bank manager, I don't get it working here. So on the slider, strangely enough, there it doesn't work. But on the dials, yeah, it works. Okay. And then we have the Tom Alric demo for today. So let's play it. Can't Make Me Blue. That's the song called by Tom Aldrich. And maybe, Tom, you can mention what you used. I think he uses a lot punch for drums, but the rest should be Blue 3. So let's play it. Yeah, that was very nice. Thanks, Tom. Okay, guys, I'll check room checking for the last time. I think everything is a little bit clear in terms of questions. Cool. Okay, guys, hope to see you next week. And then we will have some Predator 3 presets from Matrix to show you. And if you have a demo made yourself, just send it to info@papen.com with a attach MP3 in the highest quality or link for the MP3 so that I can download it and we can play it in the live stream. So hope to see you next week. Thanks for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you like it, and